Welcome everyone to another episode of Finding Your Freedom podcast, and it's a short episode today, but I thought it was only right that we have a little bit of a chat about Christmas, because with so much focus on food, of course, it can be one of the most challenging times of the year when you're in eating disorder recovery. Now, you might hear some background noise, and the reason for that is because I live across the road from a really nice French restaurant where actually there are now people having their Christmas party. So yeah, they are having a great time eating and drinking and really making the most of it. So I hope you don't hear that in the background. So Christmas, it's that time when after 11 months of the year, when we are encouraged to restrict food and make our body smaller, well, now we are told that we should completely indulge in anything and everything. So the messaging is confusing for most people. But in recovery, even if you are making progress and you feel Christmas isn't going to be as hard as maybe it was in your eating disorder, it can still bring challenges, and you don't have to face those challenges at other times of the year. So I thought I would just help a little bit if I can on this podcast. Now, I just started recovery last Christmas. I'd already started to push myself to eat freely with the help of my coach, but I was honestly anxious about Christmas. Just those thoughts, would I have something nice to wear for Christmas dinner that would still fit me because my body was changing quite fast? Would everyone who knew I was in recovery be watching me? What would they expect of me? And the pressure on myself was that it felt like maybe a first recovery test, a test as to whether could I finally have a Christmas that didn't involve restriction before and after, and could I really just enjoy the social aspect of food and time with my family. And the answer to that was yes. It was difficult at times, but it was so much better than all those Christmases before, where I was consumed with thoughts of food and restriction and calories and my body changing. So even if this is your first Christmas in recovery, I promise you it gets so much better from here. Okay, so let's go on to those tips that might help. Firstly, work out a support system in advance. If you're already at this point feeling anxious and worried about how you're going to cope, then maybe just find a friend or family member and just have them as your go-to support over the Christmas period. Because eating disorders are lonely places, and recovery can feel lonely sometimes, especially when you come into a period where you might feel a little bit overwhelmed or things are a little bit different than as they are usually, and maybe most of the time you can cope fine in your recovery, but this might be a period where just everything might get a little bit too much. So maybe choose a friend or family member, someone who can reassure you if you're finding it hard, and most importantly, someone who will reassure you that yes, you can indulge without guilt because those days are in your past. This Christmas, remember, is a new you who deserves to enjoy it. Now, if that person is someone you will actually be with in person or will be near to you, my advice, make the most of asking for a big hug if you need it. Physical contact is so good for your nervous system when you're feeling overwhelmed and triggered. And that isn't just my opinion, although it is my opinion, but science backs it up. Hugs send a signal to your brain that you are safe, to stop your brain running on that horrible nervous energy and anxiety. Hugs also send out a chemical called oxytocin, your kind of love hormone, which makes your stress hormone reduce, and it also lowers your heart rate and your blood pressure. So my New Year's resolution next year is to hug more, firstly because I love it, and secondly because it's good for me. Another tip, maybe for some support, is to think of the things that you find help you so far in recovery when you're feeling overwhelmed, and have those things to hand. So maybe save your favourite meditation, a supported podcast, a sound bath that you've listened to, go for a walk, whatever it is, the things that you've already maybe realised help you when you're feeling a bit fearful and overwhelmed. just make sure that you have some time to fit them in between all the noise. Take some time for some self-care and to ease your nervous system if you are starting to feel triggered. Just escape from, and taking time out from all the fun and the enjoyment, it doesn't have to be long, but if you are feeling just that you need a little bit of time and space for yourself, then excuse yourself, take half an hour, and all that fun and excitement will still be waiting when you get back. Another thing that might help, and I don't want to encourage any of you to spend all of your Christmas on social media, but if you have found healthy eating disorder spaces, and I reiterate, healthy eating disorder spaces, where there are people who are maybe going through recovery and whose messages are really positive and supportive around your choices around recovery, then it might help you not to feel so alone, as other people will be having the same struggles as you. I found it quite helpful to have a little quick look on Instagram in those recovery spaces, following those accounts that I knew would encourage me and support me in my recovery. And there was lots of people sharing messages that it will be okay, and I just knew it wasn't me that was just feeling a little bit wobbly. So what about the actual main event, the actual food that comes around Christmas? Well, firstly, I'll say it again, you have full permission to eat what you want, how much you want, and when you want, regardless of what other people are doing. And that doesn't mean you have to eat things you don't like or want because you think other people will expect to see you doing it. As long as you are not refusing things due to any eating disorder thoughts, then enjoy complete freedom around your food. And you might be with people that you're not usually with, friends or family, and their eating habits may be completely different to yours. And that's none of your business. Your business is your recovery, so please don't start comparing. If they eat less than you, absolutely fine. You are making up for restriction that might have gone on for years. And just like every other day in recovery, you eat according to your hunger, not anyone else's expectations. And if you have any say in the food in your house over the Christmas period, if you're having Christmas at home, then you will. I always go to family at Christmas. Then choose things that you really like, things that you've not had for years. Think of all those Christmases that you've not indulged in all of the things that were around you. And so this is a time to make your Christmas amazing, so you have all the things that you like. For example, I was going through a cream cake phase, which isn't very Christmassy, but I made sure that they were in the fridge, so when everyone else was having leftover Christmas pudding, I was having a double pack of raspberry turnovers because that's what I really wanted. Now let's move on to talk about how to deal with other people. And of course, it's lovely to see friends and family, but remember, they are not in recovery. So you might find people say things that, or do things that are maybe triggering for you in your recovery. And those people don't mean any harm at all, but they're just in a different place than you. So if people start to talk about how they can't believe how much they've just eaten, how fat they feel, how the diet starts in January, then my advice is to do one of two things. If it doesn't trigger you, then I would sit and feel quite smug that you know better than to indulge in all that guilt and shame and all the New Year fads. Because this year, you're having a guilt-free Christmas and a New Year that prioritises what is best for you, not what anyone else tells you to do. But if you are triggered, then either excuse yourself and take some time out, maybe play that meditation, maybe have a quick look on social media for people who might offer support, or if you feel very brave and that recovery confidence is kicking in, then just set a boundary. Tell people that that conversation isn't helpful for you at this stage of recovery, and just change the conversation to something lighter, like what's everyone doing for New Year's Eve, or has anyone got any holidays planned? And whichever option you choose, to leave the room or to set a boundary, do not apologise for either. Your days of apologising for prioritising yourself are behind you. And again, talking about food, well, my advice, eat regularly, and please don't be tempted to skip meals because you have a big dinner later, you have a party later, you have an event later. because that is eating disorder behaviour. And after all your progress, you're still showing your brain restriction. So, eat your breakfast and other meals around the celebration meals. If you're at the stage of recovery where you need lots of calories, you must still eat when you're full. If you're at the stage where maybe you have extreme hunger, then Christmas is practically a dream come true for you. So indulge and have as much as you need. And maybe if you're in the later stages of recovery, where you trust yourself to make choices that honour your recovery and are not an attempt at restriction, then you might choose to make the other meals a little bit lighter, but please don't miss them out. This is all about showing your brain new behaviours to take away those fears that you've had in your eating disorder. And just one thing where we're talking food and drink, if you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed or feeling all kinds of emotions, then remember that alcohol might intensify any negative emotions. And if you think that might happen, then limit alcohol or don't have any at all and stick to the soft drinks. Okay, what about those people that you haven't seen for a while? This was something I worried about because I'd started to gain weight, so I felt a little bit self-conscious about that. So my advice for that is plan what you're going to wear something comfortable that gives you confidence or at least makes you feel comfortable in your own body. On the day, Christmas Day, or any other day you've got an event, when you get up, do not spend any time body checking or giving yourself time for any body criticism. It's only going to tempt the eating disorder voice back, and that is going to ruin your day. So get up and get dressed and get straight into family time, or have a walk, or watch your favourite Christmas film, because Christmas is a time for fun, not for beating yourself up about what your body looks like. And you may find that the people you are with over Christmas, or people you see at your work's Christmas do, or friends you haven't seen for a while, well, maybe they've all been on a pre-Christmas cleanse or a fast or weight loss injections. And some of those people might be wearing small, tight dresses and may look different to you now. And you might find that triggering. And of course, you're going to be tempted to compare yourself. But just remember, in recovery, you now have different values. And being thin at the expense of your physical and mental health is not one of them. So stay true to your values and strengths. Let people see all the things you're gaining in recovery, your confidence, your sense of humour, your happiness, all of which are way more important than the size of your body. And just a word for people who might be on their own at Christmas. You might not be with friends or family this year, by choice or not. And so what I'd say to you is make the most of not having all of that white noise and outside influence, the triggering things I've just mentioned. Fill your fridge with things you enjoy and want to eat, and treat it like any other day in recovery, prioritising yourself with no guilt and no shame and no apologies, but try and make it special for you, whatever else that looks like, that just makes it a little bit of a different day and feels a little bit like a celebration of yourself. So, as I come to the end of this short episode, just remember, Christmas is a potentially stressful time when you struggle with eating, and that's okay. But you can make it easier by implementing my tips, hopefully, and knowing this is the first Christmas of a new you. You who will never have to hate Christmas again, because you're on the road to recovery. And as you move into 2026, make your only priority and resolution to build on the progress you're making in recovery, because recovery is hard. And so all those other things you might want to achieve, well, they will happen, but you need to give yourself time and patience to do recovery first. And I want to thank all of you who've listened so far this year to my podcast. I know it's early days, but I really appreciate it. And if I can help anyone, then please do reach out for support. And I wish you all a really happy, peaceful, indulgent Christmas.